Mogwai. Has it been 30 years already? Not for me. I wasn't introduced to them until around 10 or 15 years ago by an ex of mine. But they've become a part of the post-rock furniture that clutters the front room of my life. That sounded negative, but I enjoy the clutter. Today, the Scottish band released their 11th full-length EP, The Bad Fire. The previous record, As the Love Continues, was a banger in my opinion, so let's see if they keep up the trend. I realise now, 3 review videos in, that I never introduced how I do these. I attempt to avoid the singles if I know I'm going to do an album review, and then write my thoughts in note form as I listen for the first time. Then, whilst listening a second and third time through, I convert said notes into a script and make amendments based on second and third impressions where necessary. So, not quite a reactionary review, but close. So, rules established, let's get into the review. Briefly though, this video is sponsored by me, Royston and my T-Mill store. Look at those garms you can get. roystoncharmaine.tmill.com. Look at that, looking fresh. Or, alternatively, you can instead support me on Ko-fi. Ko-fi.com/roystoncharmaine or scan the QR code. Thank you! God Gets You Back, the track you're hearing now, is the opener and it creeps on slow. The synth lead line plugging away relentlessly as the rest of the sounds fill in around it. Disconcerting and tense. It's 2.5 minutes before any vocal or drums come in, and it feels like less than half of that. If you've seen any videos of mine, you'll know all about my love of a good slow build. What's built to is a dropout, the omnipresent synth coming in to dominate. If the rest of the album is in this vein, this is a great start. High Chaos is more of what I've come to expect from my post-rock favourites, as this one builds gradually into a crushing cacophony of guitars and drums, exactly what I need on a Friday morning in the midst of a storm. Bring it down on me. Not literally, just figuratively, I should specify. This was a really enjoyable sound, but one Mogwai I already have a dozen or more of. What kind of mix is this? A song title to excite the music nerds, yes, and here we are. A dodgy mix, if unintentional, is laughingstock potential, but done with artistic intent it can be an interesting tool. And there's a lot of dissonance in the sound early on, so call me intrigued. The synth that bellows out in the second half of the song is probably what the title alludes to, but I actually think it blends quite nicely for such an abrasive noise. An interesting experiment of a song, but not one I'll be clamouring to listen to again. Fanzine Made of Flesh is a bit more of me. I could almost call this post-pop rock, pop-post-rock. The vocoder effect is not one you hear in the genre all too often, at least not to this degree. And the dichotomy of moods created in the palette of sounds is something to behold, as the song somehow manages to feel simultaneously happy and yet hopeless. How does it do that? Excellence, that's how. And the ending segment, wow, listen to this song. Pale vegan hip pain begins slow and somber, it must really be painful. Make sure to supplement your missing proteins and minerals, vegans, or anyone else with any dietary restrictions. This song ascends a little way towards the end, but mostly remains in an almost dirge of anguish and sorrow. So, obviously enough, if you know me, I loved it. These last 2 tracks have really brought me back into the album. Halfway, will it be strong all the way home? If you find this world bad, you should see some of the others, is the title of the next track, and it's immediately evocative. I can already see the conversation that's about to take place. And, as I'd expect, we once again begin slow and somber, gradually filling in as the world takes shape. This track, at a shade under 7.5 minutes, is the album's longest, but it doesn't feel it. 3 minutes have passed before I even know it, and we're only just now beginning to grow in volume. And when we burst free of the shackles and hail of synth and guitar, the euphoria is palpable. This is the best song so far. Please stick the landing. If this album stays good, it could be wonderful. 18 Volcanoes haunts us with vocals and background noise like that which would follow an explosion. The effectively titled track, or at least album art track. This one is another steady builder, working its way slowly up the mountainside, or perhaps down, but instead of bursting open as the last song did, the noises simply grow louder in volume without ever becoming more distinct or dominant. It just creeps towards you before pulling away again, unsettling. Hammer Room, and I really don't want to try and explain why here, feels like a video game cutscene where the victorious player is presented with a glowing trophy to commend their victory. Perhaps it's the somewhat 8-bit nature of the synth in this track, or just my own predisposed love of retro video games. But this is what immediately came to my mind, and even on a repeat listen I couldn't shake that. This song feels like fun and games to me, and it probably isn't supposed to. Sorry lads, I love this one anyway. The penultimate track, Lion Rumpus, was one of the pre-release singles that I did hear, so I already know I like this song. Is that informed and influenced by the music video being a compilation of Good Boys? Yeah, probably, but dogs are the best and deserve a bit of bias here and there. I'll not just talk about dogs in this segment though, and I'll discuss how the song drives onward from moment one with the drumming carrying by far the heaviest load. This song is a force of nature and one that I didn't even attempt to resist. Last but not least, we have the closer, Fact Boy. That was Fact Boy. I know, the way I speak might have made it sound like something else. Another 7 minutes till we once again take our time, dancing around the edges of the space, flowing with the rhythm more so than any other song on this album. Then, just as we feel the build is coming to a head, it dies. And the album peters out in a way that, while slightly disappointing, is nonetheless fitting, as the background radiation of the explosion takes over. Throughout this album I didn't come across any discernible through line or overarching theme. Not that an album needs to have one, but it's nice when it does. This one is just a collection of songs, but it's a collection of good songs, some very good. I'll be coming back for Fanzine, Hip Pain and If You Find This World for sure. That 3-song run is the best on the album. As for the record as a whole, on a 10-point scale, I'm going to go with a 7. A very enjoyable listen that falls just short of being great. If you like these reviews, subscribe to my channel. I also do much longer videos about lyrical concepts and themes called Exploring the Concept, check those out too. I've been Royston, and until the future, drive safe.